ॐ शुक्लां भरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करभावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। अगजाननपद्मार्कं गजाननमहर्निशम् अनेकदन्तं भक्तानाम् एकदन्तमुपास्महे। श्रीमहागणपतये नमः। गुरवे सर्वलोकानां विषजे भवरोगिणां निधये सर्वविद्यानां श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। अस्मद्गुरुचरणारविन्दाभ्यां नमः। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। ज्ञानानन्दमयं देवं निर्मलस्फटिकाकृतिम् आधारं सर्वविद्यानां श्रीहयग्रीवमुपास्महे। श्रीहयग्रीवमूर्तये नमः। सरस्वती नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणि विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा। श्रीमहासरस्वती नमः। उमाकोमलहस्ताब्जसम्भावितललाटकं हिरण्यकुण्डलं वन्दे कुमारं पुष्करस्रजं। வெற்றிவேல் முருகனுக்கு ஹரஹரோஹரா. लोकवीर्यं महापूज्यं सर्वरक्षाकरं विभुं पार्वती हृदयानन्दं शास्तारं प्रणमाम्यहं। स्वामिये शरणमय्यप्प। वागर्ताविव सम्पृक्तौ वागर्तप्रतिपत्तये जगतः पितरौ वन्दे पार्वती परमेश्वरौ। श्रीपार्वती परमेश्वराभ्यां नमः। कोमलं कूजयन् वेणुं श्यामलोऽयं कुमारकः वेदवेद्यं परब्रह्मा तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। अस्मद्गुरुचरणारविन्दाभ्यां नमः। श्रीकृष्ण गोविन्द हरे मुरारे श्रीनाथ नारायण वासुदेव। श्रीकृष्ण गोविन्द हरे मुरारे श्रीनाथ नारायण वासुदेव। श्रीकृष्ण गोविन्द हरे मुरारे श्रीनाथ नारायण वासुदेव। पीताम्बरं करविराजितचक्रशङ्खकौमोदकी सरसिजं करुणासमुद्रं राधासहायम् अतिसुन्दरमन्दहासं वातालयेशम् अनिशं हृदि भावयामि। कृष्णो रक्षतु मां चराचरगुरुः कृष्णं नमस्ये सदा। कृष्णेनैव सुरक्षितोऽहमसकृत् कृष्णाय दत्तं मनः। कृष्णादेव समुद्भवो मम विभो कृष्णस्य दासोऽस्म्यहं। कृष्णे भक्तिरचञ्चलास्तु भगवन् हे कृष्ण तुभ्यं नमः। श्रीगुरुवायूरप्पा शरणं नम्राणां सन्निधत्ते सततमपि पुरस्तैरणभ्यर्थितानपि आर्तान् कामानजस्रं वितरति परमानन्दसान्द्रां गतिं च। इत्थं निःशेषलभ्यो निरवधिकफलः पारिजातो हरे त्वं क्षुद्रं तं शक्रवाटी ध्रुममभिलषति व्यर्थमर्त्यव्रजोऽयं। श्रीगुरुवायूरप्पा शरणं श्रीभट्टपादम् अनिशं हृदि भावयामि। वंशीविभूषितकरात् नवनीलदाभात् पीताम्बरात् अरुणबिम्बफलादरोष्टात् पूर्णेन्दुसुन्दरमुखात् अरविन्दनेत्रात् कृष्णात् परं किमपि तत्त्वमहं न जाने। കൈരണ്ടും കൂപ്പി ഞാൻ വീണ്ടുമീറക്കുന്നു നീരജലോചന നിന്നോടായി. ഏതീനു മഞ്ഞനെ കുമ്പിടേണ്ട തോരു രീതിയിൽ നീ എന്നെ പാലിക്കെന്നായി. കൃഷ്ണ ഹരേ ജയ കൃഷ്ണ ഹരേ ജയ കൃഷ്ണ ഹരേ ജയ കൃഷ്ണ ഹരേ. Good morning, everyone. Okay, so we'll I think reviewing 60 and 61 today, right? I see Pusha Garu is not on yet. Okay, so since we are limited, who wants to do 60 and 61? Each one can take one.
I can do 60 if somebody wants to do it. It's fine. I
Okay,
can do 60.
yeah, you do 60, nothing either. Someone else can do 61.
Om Krishnaya Parabrahmane Namaha. Madananturachet son Vaham Bhavadangri Dvayadasakam Yaya यमुना ततसीम्नि सैकतीं तरलाक्ष्यो गिरिजां समार्चिचन् तव नाम कथारतः समं सुदर्शः प्रातु उपागताक् नदीम् उपहारशतैरपूजयन् दयितो नन्दसुतो भवेदिति इति मासमुपाहितव्रातः तरलाक्षीरभिवीक्ष्यता भवान् करुणा मृदुलो तटं समयासि तदनु गृहीचया
Anugrahechaya, the last word. Tad
अनुग्रहे
anugrahechaya.
तदनुग्रहेश्चया नियमावसितौ निजं परं ततसीमन्यवमुच्यतास्तदा यमुना जलखेलनाकुलाः पुरतस्त्वम् अवलोक्य लज्जिताः तपया निमितान्ननास्वतो वनिता स्वम्बर जालम् अन्दिके निहितं परिगृह्य भूरुहो विटपं त्वं तरसादिरूढवान् इह तावत् उपेत्य नीयतां वसनं वस् सुदृशो यतायतम् इति नर्म मृदुस्मिति त्वयि ब्रुवति मुमुहे वधूजनैः
And the last line, Vya Mumuhe.
ब्रुवति मुमुहे वधूजनैः अयि जीवचिरं किशोरनस्तवदसीर वशीकरोषि किम् प्रदिशां परम् अम्बुजे शने युदितस्त्वं स्मितमेव दत्तवान् अधिरुह्य ततं कृताञ्जलिः परिशुद्धस्वगतिर्निरीक्ष्यताः वसनान्यखिलान्यनुग्रहम् पुनरेवं गिरम् अप्यदा मुदा विदितं ननु वो मनीषितं वदितारस्त्विह योग्यम् उत्तरम् यमुना पुलिने सचन्द्रिकाः शनदा इत्यबलास्त्वम् ऊचिवान् उपकर्ण्य पवन्मुगच्युतं मधुनिष्यन्ति वचो मृगीदृशः प्रणयादै वीक्ष्यते वदनाब्जं शनखैर्गृहं गताः इति नन्वनुगृह्य वल्लवीः विपिनान्तेषु पुरेव सञ्चरन् करुणाशिशिरो हरे 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 हर त्वरया मे सकलामया बलिम्. कृष्णाय परब्रह्मणे.
I can do the 61.
Okay.
Yajva pratyudharana varnanam ततश्च वृन्दावनतोऽति दूरतो वनं गतस्त्वं खलु गोपगोकुलैः हृदन्तरे भक्ततरद्विजाङ्गना कदम्बकानुग्रहणाग्रहं वहन् ततो निरीक्षा शरणे वनान्तरे किशोरलोकं क्षुदितं तृषाकुलम् अदूरतो यज्ञपरान् द्विजां प्रति व्यसर्जयो दिवि याचनायतान् गतेष्वतो तेष्वभिधाय तेभिधां कुमारकेशोदनयाचिषु प्रभो श्रुतिस्थिरा अप्यभिनिन्युरश्रुतिं न किञ्चिदूचुश्च महीसुरोत्तमाः.
Shilpa, you want to try? I think the tune is slightly off.
Okay,
Yeah,
yes.
I think you continued with the previous ones. The next one will be Anadharat Kinnadiyo hi balakaha samhayayur. That's the tune.
Okay. अनादरात् किन्नदियो हि बालकाः समाययुर्युक्तमिदं हि यज्वसु चिरादभक्ताः खलु ते महीसुराः कथं हि भक्तं त्वयि तैः समप्यते निवेदयत्वं गृहिणी जनाय मां दिशेयुरन्नं करुणाकुला इमाः इति स्मितार्द्रं भवतेरिते गताः ते तारकादारजनं ययाचिरे.
Third line, Bhavate Ritagataha.
भवतेरिता गताः.
Yeah, I think it's a te. That's okay. Keep going.
Okay. गृहीतनां नित्यये सम्भ्रमाकुलाः चतुर्विधं भोज्यरसं प्रगृह्यताः चिरं द्रुतत्वप्रविलोकनाग्रहाः स्वकैर्निरुद्धा अपि तु न माययुः विलोलपिञ्चं चिकुरे कपोलयोः समुल्लसत्कुण्डलमार्द्रमीक्षिते निधाय बाहुं सुहृदं ससीमनिस्थितं भवन्तं समलोकयं तथाः तदा च काचित्त्वदुपागमोद्यता गृहीतहस्तादयितेन यज्वना तदैव सञ्चिन्त्य भवन्तमञ्जसा विवेश कैवल्यमहोकृतिन्यसौ आदाय भोज्यान् यन्यन् गृह्यतां पुनः त्वदङ्गसङ्गस्पृहयोद्गतिगृहम् विलोक्य यज्ञाय विसर्जयन्निमाः चकर्त भर्तॄन् पिता स्वगर्हणान् निरूप्य दोषं निजमङ्गनाजने विलोक्य भक्तिं च पुनर्विचारिभिः प्रबुद्धतत्त्वैस्त्वमभिष्टुतो मरुत्पुराधीश निरुन्धि मे गदान्. श्रीकृष्ण परब्रह्मणे नमः.
All right, so let's continue with 62 today. I think we had finished 2 stanzas, so we'll continue with third one. So, Shanti, you can be a student. Usha Garu, you can be a student in the first half. So, stanza 362. Iti shrutva vacham piturai bhavanaha sarasam dhige tanno satyam magavajanita vrishtiriti yate adrishtam jivanam sujati khalu vrishtim samuchitam maharanye vrikshaha kimiva bhalimindraya dadate. So we saw last time where they were about to start doing that big home annual puja for Indra. So at that time Krishna goes and asks Nandagopa and others, why are you doing this, right? So Nandagopa says, because Indra is the controller of the rain, and that is extremely important for everything in this earth to sustain. And plus we are all like cow herds, so for us everything has to grow so that the cows can eat, and then we get milk and yogurt and all the other products. So Krishna says, then now this Krishna is responding. So Nandagopa responded in stanza 2. Krishna is responding in stanza 3. He's saying, he says, it is purely by one's karma that one takes birth. It's by one's karma, whenever that is destined, that one dies. And whatever happens to somebody happens because of their karma. He says that is the rule of the land. There's nothing that can change it, right? So he says whatever one is experiencing is also because of their past deeds and the past actions that they have done over several births. He says, how can Indra, who is a demigod, control one person's destiny? He says that's not possible. Indra does not have the power to change somebody's destiny. Right? So he says you don't have to go worship Indra to change your destiny, because Indra does not have that power. Right? That's how Krishna starts. Then he goes on to say that Indra's responsibility, you are right, is to give rain. So if you think of any other job, right, that somebody is doing, right, so you are paid to do that job. Indra doesn't get paid, but that's his role, right, to do that job. you don't have to go and give them extra money. Like that's like called bribing, right? In India, like you give extra money for them to do their own job. So Krishna says you don't have to go worship Indra for him to perform his duties. That is his responsibility. His responsibility is to make sure rain is falling wherever, all of that stuff. You're right. And so that's Indra's responsibility. You don't have to go do anything extra for Indra to be able to do that, right? So that is what Krishna then says. Then he says, you know, think of all the trees and everything which are there. Do they do homam to Indra? Do they do puja to Indra? They don't. They survive on rain. But have you ever seen a tree do puja to Indra? That's what he says. Kimiva maharanye vrikshaha, all these trees and shrubs which are all there in this great forest. Kimiva balim Indraya, what bali, what sacrifice, what offerings do they give Indra that for them to get rain? He says, you absolutely don't have to do anything. That is Indra's responsibility. We should not be doing anything, right? And Krishna will say what to do in the next stanza, but here he says it's not required. So you only, you pray to the person who can control what can happen. Somebody who cannot control, why are you wasting your time praying for that person? So iti shrutva vacham piturai, comma, bhavanaha sarasam, comma, dhige tanno satyam, comma, magava janita vrishtiriti yat. Iti shrutva vacham piturai bhavanaha sarasam dhige tanno satyam magava janita vrishtiriti yat.
इति श्रुत्वा वासं पितुरै भवानाः सरसं दिगे तन्नो सत्यं मघवजनिता वृष्टिरिदीयत् इति श्रुत्वा वासं पितुरै भवानाः सरसं दिगे तन्नो सत्यं मघवजनिता वृष्टिरिदीयत्.
And then the first line, the piturai comma, okay, after that.
Okay.
इति श्रुत्वा वाचं पितुरै भवानाः सरसं धिगे तन्नो सत्यं मघवजनिता वृष्टिरिति यत्. इति श्रुत्वा वाचं पितुरै भवानाः सरसं धिगे तन्नो सत्यं मघवजनिता वृष्टिरिति यत्.
Adrishtam jivanam, comma, srujati khalu vrishtim samuchitam, comma, maharanye vrikshaha, comma, kimiva balim indraya dadate. Adrishtam jivanam srujati khalu vrishtim samuchitam, maharanye vrikshaha, kimiva balim indraya dadate.
अदृष्टं जीवानां सृजति खलु वृष्टं समुचितां महारण्ये वृक्षाः किमिव बलिमिन्द्राय ददते. अदृष्टं जीवानां सृजति खलु वृष्टं समुचितां महारण्यवृक्षाः किमिव बलिमिन्द्राय ददते.
अदृष्टं जीवानां सृजति खलु वृष्टिं समुचितां महारण्ये वृक्षाः किमिव बलिमिन्द्राय ददते. अदृष्टं जीवानां सृजति खलु वृष्टिं समुचितां महारण्ये वृक्षाः किमिव बलिमिन्द्राय ददते.
Stanza 4. Idham tavat satyam yadiha pashavo nah kuladhanam tada jivyayasau bhalirachala bhartre samuchitaha surebhyo pyutkrishtah nanu dharani devaha kshititale tatastepyaradhyaha iti jagadidatvam nijajanan. This is what you said is true, that the cows that we have are indeed our wealth, because we completely rely on cows, being for cow herds. That is kind of what we rely on. Now the cows rely on the grass, like we said earlier. So he says this Govardhana mountain which is there, this Vrindavan forest which is there, that is the shelter for his cows, because that's where the cows go, that's where the cows eat, that's what the cows eat. So he says you should be thankful to the Govardhana mountain to be able to give food to the cows, because does the Govardhana mountain expect anything in return? It doesn't ask anything in return. He says you should be going and thanking the Govardhana mountain. because it's unconditionally giving food for our cows, because of which we are able to survive. That's number one. He says number two, he says more than any gods, he says, Krishna says you should worship the holy people who are doing good things for the society. So he is referring to the Brahmins who do the necessary pujas and who do all the right things, right? He says you should be worshipping them more than actually going and doing anything. Number three, Krishna says is you should also thank the cows, because we are relying on the cows. We are surviving purely because of the cows. So he says these are the three people we should be worshipping and thanking, and not worshipping Indra or anybody else, any other demigods, right? So he goes on, he goes and suggests that whatever all these offerings and everything that you have made for this home, you see, you stop all that, you go call the Brahmins, get the cows, and then go give all these offerings to the mountain, to Govardhana mountain, to the holy people, and then to the cows, right? And he also goes on to describe very nicely. He says, first you do all first to them. Once they eat, or once that food is offered to them, next he says give food to the people who are, like the lowest of class, who don't get any food. He says you offer them food. Once they finish eating, he says only then we should eat, right? So he kind of gives a very nice sequence of things that they should be doing instead of going and praying for Indra. So idam thavat satyam, comma, yadiha pashavo naha, is there put a ich sound, pashavo nah kuladhanam, tada jivya yasau balir achala bhartre. If you want to break it, or you can say it together, balira chala bhartre samuchitaha. The second line, there is no comma. Idham tavat satyam yadiha pashavo nah kuladhanam tada jivya yasau balira chala bhartre samuchitaha.
Idam davat satyam yadiha basavo nah kulatanam tada jivyayasau balirachala patre samuchitaha. Idam davat satyam yadiha basavo nah kulatanam tata jivyayasau balirachala patre samuchitaha.
Something in the first line, pashavo, sha sound, okay, there.
Okay.
idam tavat satyam yadiha pashavo nah kuladhanam tada jivyayasau balirachala bhartre samuchitaha. idam tavat satyam yadiha pashavo nah kuladhanam tada jivyayasau balirachala bhartre samuchitaha.
Musha Garu, that pashavo naha, you don't have to say it, it just becomes nah. Just
Nah, okay.
if sound, okay.
Okay.
Surebhyo pyutkrishtah. So that you won't have a visarga, you put a visarga there and a comma. Surebhyo pyutkrishtah, comma. Nanu dharani devaha. So that visarga you have to say because ksha is coming later. You don't have to stop completely, but just say that visarga devaha kshititale, comma. Tatastepyaradhyaha. That's one word, but after that you have to put add a visarga. You won't have it. Add a visarga and comma. Iti jagadita tvam nija janan. SurebhyoPyutkrishtah nanu dharani devaha kshititale tatastepyaradhyaha iti jagadita tvam nija janan.
सुरेभ्योऽप्युत्कृष्टाः ननु तरणिदेवाः क्षितितले तदस्तेभ्याराध्याः इति जगति तत्त्वं निजजनान्. सुरेभ्योऽप्युत्कृष्टाः ननु तरणिदेवाः क्षितितले तदस्तेभ्याराध्याः इति जगति तत्त्वं निजजनान्.
सुरेभ्योऽप्युत्कृष्टाः ननु धरणि देवाः सुरेभ्योऽप्युत्कृष्टाः ननु धरणि देवाः क्षितितले ततस्तेऽप्याराध्याः इति जगदि तत्त्वं निजजनान्. सुरेभ्योऽप्युत्कृष्टाः ननु धरणि देवाः क्षितितले ततस्तेऽप्याराध्याः इति जगदि tvam nija janan.
That's all fine. Bhavat vacham shrutva bahumati yutastepi pashupaha dvijendranarchanto bhalimadaduruchaihi kshitibrite vyaduh pradakshinyam subrishamanam annadharayutaha tvamadashailatma balimakilamabhira puratah. So Krishna said, this is what I recommend. This is my suggestion. But he also leaves it open to them, saying, you all decide. You all are learned people as well. So you can decide what is right and what needs to be done. So after hearing Krishna's words, so that's the thing, right? So it's very important that, even if, first of all, they don't know he is the Lord. But even if somebody great comes and says, I want you to fundamentally change what you are doing, it's very difficult for us to also stop doing because we're afraid. If I do something, if I stop doing it, what is going to be the implications of not doing that? We're always afraid, so we kind of keep a backup plan. So these people decide, if Krishna is saying, we trust with what Krishna says, and they don't have a backup plan, right? And they say, okay. So here, so what they do is they then assemble all the Brahmins to start doing the puja and everything. So they bring all the Brahmins, they bring all the cows, and all the food that they have made, they then keep it as offering to Govardhana. So in the Hindu Mandir of Lake County every year, they do something called as an Annakut. If you must have heard that word, a lot of temples do. So what they do is they bring all kinds of food, right? And then they offer it to the Govardhana mountain and to the cows and to the Brahmins. So that is the festival that's called Annakut. So they bring all this, that's what they do. They go and bring all this and then they keep it for offerings to Govardhana and everything. And and then at that time, these gopas are also cowherds, right? So Krishna's worry was, how do you bring that confidence in them that you should do this, that the mountain will take care of you, don't worry about Indra, right? So because the food is all there, so they don't have anything. So what it is, Krishna, you, just like how Naimisharanya forest is the Bhagavan himself, just like how when here in Govardhana, the Govardhana is the Lord himself. So the Lord himself goes in and eats all the food, so that eats at least a portion of the food, so the people have a belief that, don't worry, the food got consumed, right? So you don't have to worry about it. So bhavat vacham shrutva, comma, bahumati yutastepi pashupaha, comma, dvijendran archanto. Dvijendra is the holy people. So dvijendran archanto, comma. Next word, I'll break it into three parts, but you can say it together if you want. Balim ada duruchaihi. Ada duruchaihi, three words there. But balim ada duruchaihi. So Visarga you have to say again because Ksha is coming later. Kshiti brite. Bhavat vacham shrutva bahumati yutastepi pashupaha dvijendranarchanto balimada duruchaihi kshiti brite.
भवत्याचं श्रुत्वा बहुमतियुधास्तेऽपि पशुपाः द्विजेन्द्रानर्चन्दो बलिमद दुरुच्चैः क्षितिप्रीते भवद्वाचं श्रुत्वा बहुमतियुधास्तेऽपि पशुपाः द्विजेन्द्रानर्चन्दो बलिमद दुरुच्चैः क्षितिप्रीते
Bhavatvacham shutva bahumati yutastepi pashupaha dvijendranachanto balimaduduraichaihi kshitibrute.
Usha, that last second line. Balim ada duruchaihi.
Balim. Okay. Bhavadvacham shutva bahumati yutastepi pashupaha Vijendranachanto balim madu durachaihi kshitibrute.
I think you're saying balim adu, you're saying balim ada duruchaihi.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Vyaduhu is there, put a F, Vyaduf, Pradakshinyam, comma, Subhrisham, Anam, Annadharayutaha. So the three words there, part of it. Subhrisham, Anam, Annadharayutaha. Put a Visarga at the end of that line, comma. Next line, that is goes away. Tvamadash Shailatma, comma, Balim, Akhilam, Abhira Purataha. If you want to break it, Balim, Akilam, Abhira Purataha. व्यदुः प्रादक्षिण्यं सुभृशमनमन्नाधरयुताः त्वमादशैलात्मा बलिमखिलमाभीरपुरतः
व्यदुः प्रादक् व्य- व्यदुः व्यदुः प्रादक्षिण्यं सुपृशम् अन्नादरदयाः त्वमादशैलात्मा बलिम् अखिलम् आबीरपुरतः व्यदुः प्रादक्षिण्यं सुपृशम् अन्नादरुदयाः त्वमादशैलात्मा बलिम् अखिलम् आबीरपुरतः.
And in the fourth line after Shailatma, there is a comma, okay? Fourth line.
व्यधुः प्रादिक्षिण्यं शुभ्रुशमनमन्नादरयताः त्वमादशैलात्मा बलिमखिलमभीरपुरतः व्यधुः प्रादिक्षिण्यं व्यदुः प्रादक्षिण्यं शुभ्रुशमनमन्नादरयताः त्वमादशैलात्मा बलिमखिलमभीरुपरतः
Bhalim Akhilam Abhirapuratah.
अपुरतः.
Yeah, that's a 6. Avochaschaivam tan kimiha bitatam me nigatitam girindro nanveshah swabhalimupabhunkte swavapusha ayam gotro gotra dvishicha kupite rakshitumalam samastanityuktaha jahrushurakila gokulajushah. So Krishna just continues saying, that don't worry, this Govardhana hill, he is protected as all these years with so many things. It's protected this land. They moved to Vrindavan only recently, but it has protected this land over so many years. It always takes care of our cows. So we should have the trust in that, and he says, look, the mountain has consumed everything that we offered as part of Annakut. So he says, don't worry about it. Even if Indra is there, is our enemy here, he tries to do bad things to us. Govardhana and the nature, everything, they will protect us, so we don't have to worry about it because we have done the right things of paying homage to the Brahmins, paying respects to Govardhana mountain. You don't have to worry about anything. So with that, they all go back home. Gokula Jushaha, they all just go back to their houses after the puja. Avochash chaivam tan, kimiha bitatham me nigatitam, Girindro nanveshaha. So you don't have visarga, put it nanveshaha, swa bhalim upabhunkte swa vapusha. Avochaschaivam tan kimiha bitatam me nigatitam girindro nanveshaha swa bhalim upabhunkte swa vapusha.
अवोचसैवं दान् किमिह विदतं मे निगदितं गिरीन्दरो नन्वेषः स्वबलिमुपभङ्क्ते स्ववपुषा.
A second line bhunkte, bhalim upabhunkte.
बलिमुपभुङ्क्ते, okay. अवोचसैवं दान् किमिह विदतं मे निगदितं गिरीन्द्रो नन्वेषः स्वबलिमुपभुङ्क्ते स्ववपुषा.
अवोचच्चैवं तान् किमिह विदधं मे निगदितं गिरीन्द्रो नन्वेषः स्वबलिमुपभुङ्क्ते स्ववपुषः.
Shagaru, the first line after tan, the comma is okay. Avoshashchaivam tan.
Oh, not kimiha.
Not kimiha.
Avochachchaivam tan kimiha vitadam me nigaditam girindro nanveshaha swabalimuva bhunktre swavapusha.
I am gotro, gotra dvishi cha kupite rakshitumalam, samastan ityuktaha. So you can put another visarga there and comma. Samastan ityuktaha, comma. Jahrushur akhila. If you want to break it at the ra. Jahrushur akhila gokula jushaha. Ayam gotro gotradvishicha kupite rakshitumalam samastanityuktaha jahrushura gokula jushaha.
Ayam gotro dvivishi cha kubite rakshitumalam samastan
Samastan ityuktaha.
Samastanityuktaha jahrushura gokula jushaha. Ayam gotro gotradvishicha kubite rakshitumalam samastanityuktaha jahrushira gokula jushaha.
Ayam gotro gotradvishicha kupite rakshitumalam samastanityuktaha jahrushira kila gokula jushaha. Ayam gotro gotradvishicha kupite rakshitumalam samastanityuktoha jahrushira kila gokula juvaha.
Jushaha.
Jushaha.
Stanza 7. Pariprita yathaha khalu bhavadupeta brajajusho brajam yavattavan nijamakabibhangam nishamayan bhavantam janannapyadika rajasakkranta hridayo nasehe devendraha tvaduparachidadmonatirapi. So the Braja people, they were very happy because they felt they completed their duty successfully. They all came back home. Now, Indra, on the other hand, when he realized that this annual sacrifice has been completely stopped, so he becomes very furious. Now, this obvious question is, doesn't Indra know that this is the Lord himself who has taken incarnation? Probably because they only went and asked, right, in Vaikuntham saying, please come to get rid of Kamsa and everybody else. But just like how Brahma also, at one point came and took the calves in the Vatsapahara Haranam, we saw they took the calves and the boys away. Indra also. So all these, even everybody is contained by sometimes when the Rajo Gunam, when that overcomes and the pride gets questioned, right, they kind of lose the fundamental. We all do that, right? We all believe in some things, people who we respect. But sometimes when we get we get angry or pissed with something, right, we end up doing something which is not right, something that logic doesn't take over at that time, right? So Indra also somehow doesn't loses track of this, and he's like, how can somebody here stop all this puja that is happening to me? And I'll also say the next one because it's kind of continued. He says, even if this is the God himself coming and telling to stop, the example he's setting for the people, for the common man, is do not worship the demigods. So he says that becomes a precedent. So tomorrow nobody will do any yajnam, nobody will do any homage to Agni, nobody will do anything to Brahma, nobody will do anything to Indra. He says that entire process will come to a stop, right? So he says that should not happen, right? He says I cannot set that rule like that. So he says they have to be taught a lesson. So because of that, he feels that his position is being threatened, that he's not being given the due respect. So pariprita yathaha, comma, khalu bhavadupeta brajajusho, comma, brajam yavat tavan nija makha vibhangam nishamayan. You can easily break it. There's no pause in the second line. Pariprita yathaha khalu bhavadupeta brajajusho brajam yavat tavan nija makha vibhangam nishamayan.
Pariprita yadaha khalu bhavatu beta vrajajusho rajam yavaddavan nijamagavibangam nisamayan. Pariprita yadaha khalu bhavatu beta vrajajusho rajam yavaddavan nijamagavibangam nisamayan.
Paripritayaatah kalu bhavadupeta vrajajusho vrajam yavattavan nijamakavibhangam यावत्तावन्निजमखविभङ्गं निशमयन् परिप्रीतायाता खलु भवदुपेता व्रजजुषो व्रजं यावत्तावन्निजमखविभङ्गं निशमयन्
Bhavantam janannapyadika. Say up to that point together. Janannapyadika rajasakranta hridayo. So that word you say together. Hridayo, comma. So that whole line is together. So janannapyadika rajasakranta hridayo, comma. Na sehe devendraha. So that is there. Put a visarga, comma. Devendraha. Tvad uparachitatmonatirapi. That word also you cannot break it. So you have to say the whole word together only. Tvad uparachiratmonatirapi. Bhavantam janannapyadika rajasakranta hridayo nasehe devendraha tvaduparachitaatmonatirapi.
भवन्तं जानन्नप्यतिह रजसा भवन्तं न जानन्नप्यतिह रजसाक्रान्तहृदयः न सेहे देवेन्द्रः न सेहे देवेन्द्रः Can you repeat it, please? Sorry.
Yeah, correct. First of all, that hridayaha, if you have it, change it to hridayo. It's the same thing, and the visarga just becomes a O there, the end of the third line. So in the fourth line, nasehe devendraha tvaduparachitaatmonatirapi.
Tvadu
Shanti, we cannot break it, okay? Like you have, it is the only place you can break it is the do. It's tvad.
Okay.
Uparachitat atmana utarapi, multiple words. You have to say it together. So tvadu parachitatmonatirapi.
Okay. Bhavandam jananapyatiha rajasa granda hridayo nasehe
Devendraha.
Tvaduparachitat monadirabi.
Yeah, that's it.
Bhavandam jananapyadika rajasa granda hridayo nasehe devendra Tvaduparachitat
Monatirapi.
monatirapi.
And the Devendraha, it becomes okay. That visarga will come there. Instead that is okay. We're stopping there. So fourth line.
भवन्तं जानन्नप्यधिकरजसाक्रान्तहृदयो न सेहे देवेन्द्रः त्वदुपरिचितात्मनो त्वदुपरिचितात्मोन्नतिरपि.
Garu, tvadu parachitat.
परिचितात्. भवन्तं जानन्नप्यधिकरजसाक्रान्तहृदयो न सेहे देवेन्द्रः त्वदुपरिचितात्मानोतिरपि.
Parachita. I think you say it's pari again. Parachita.
I will.
This word you cannot break it, so you can't do anything if it is you have to say it that way.
Yeah. न सेहो देवेन्द्रः त्वदुपरिचितात्मोन्नतिरपि.
Yeah. Stanza 8. Manushyatvam yato madubhidapi deveshvavinayam vidatte chet nashtastridasha sadasam kopi mahima tatascha dhvamsishye pashupahatakasya shriyamiti pravritastvam jetum sakila magava durmadanidhi. So that's continuing. He says that, I think these cowherds have become very prosperous of late. So because they become very prosperous, they are forgetting their roots. They're forgetting how they became prosperous, which is because of all of the work that I have done and the rain I keep giving. So they have actually kind of gotten blinded by that, which is why they've stopped all these offerings. And, they're acting like this, because of some boy who's coming there and telling them, right? So, and then that's where he says that even if it was the Lord himself who's coming and telling these the Pashupa people not to do it, he says it still shows disrespect to the demigods. He said, so because of that, what happens is, he says that it's going to now set, like we discussed earlier, it's going to set the precedent. You don't have to worship anymore. He says, my whole position itself is being questioned What is the purpose of me? That's why Indra gets very agitated, because he feels that they're questioning his authority, right? And this is going to, if Indra gets questioned, that means everybody else, Varuna, Agni, Vayu, nobody is going to be respected anymore, right? So that's Indra's worry. So that's when the second line it says Tri Dasha. Tri Dasha is referring to all the gods. Tri Dasha Sadasam Kopi Mahima. Where will be any respect left for any of the demigods? Manushyatvam Yato, comma, Madhu Bhidapi Deveshwa Vinayam, comma, Bhidatte Chet. You'll have two nas there. So one of the na, you put a it and a comma. Bhidatte Chet, comma. The next word will start with a na. Nashtas Tridasha Sadasam Kopi Mahima. Manushyatvam Yato Madhubhidapi Deveshwa Vinayam Bidhatte Chet Nashtas Tridasha Sadasam Kopi Mahima.
मनुष्यत्वं यादो मधुपिदपि देवेश्व विनयं विधत्ते चेत् नष्टस्त्रिदशतसां कोऽपि महिमा.
Tridasha Sadasam. Second. Tridasha Sadasam.
Okay. मनुष्यत्वं यादो मधुपिदपि देवेश्व विनयं विधत्ते चेत् नष्टस्त्रिदशतसदां गोपि महिमा.
You got extra da, you are adding somewhere there. Nashtas Tridasha Sadasam.
Okay. Nashtas tridasad Dasasadasam.
Yeah, Tridasha is one word. Sadasam is another word. Tridasha Sadasam.
Okay.
मनुष्यत्वं यातो मधुभिदपि देवेश्व विनयं विधत्ते चेत् नष्टस्त्रिदशसदसां कोऽपि महिमा. मनुष्यत्वं यातो मधुभिदपि देवेश्व विनयं विधत्ते चेत् नष्टस्त्रिदशसदसां कोऽपि महिमा.
Tatascha Dhvamsishye, comma, Pashupa Hatakasya Shriyamiti, comma, Pravrittastvam Jetum, comma, there's two tas coming, itandata, Pravrittastvam Jetum, comma, Sakhila Magava Durmada Nidihi. Tatascha Dhvamsishye Pashupa Hatakasya Shriyamiti, Pravrittastvam Jetum, Sakila Magava Durmada Nidihi.
तदस्तत्वं शिष्ये पशुबहदकस्य श्रियमिति प्रवृत्तस्त्वां जेतुं च किल मघवा दुर्मदनिधिः. तदस्तत्वं शिष्ये पशुबहदकस्य श्रियमिति प्रवृत्तस्त्वां जेतुं च किल मघवा दुर्मदनिधिः.
ततश्च ध्वंसिष्ये पशुपहतकस्य श्रियमिति प्रवृत्तस्त्वां जेतुं स किल मघवा दुर्मदनिधिः. ततश्च ध्वंसिष्ये पशुपहतकस्य श्रियमिति प्रवृत्तस्त्वां जेतुं स किल मघवा दुर्मदनिधिः.
That's right. Twadhavasam hantum pralaya jaladanam bharabhuvi prahinvan bibhranaha kulishamayamabre bhagamanah pratastinyaihi antardharanmarudadhyirvihasito bhavan maya naiva tribhuvanapate mohayatikam. Indra says, the previous stanza, he continues saying that I'm going to do dhvamsam. Like these people are so arrogant because of the prosperity, it's because of the cows they have and because of everything they have. So I'm going to teach them what power I have. And for that, I'm going to go completely destroy them off, right? Completely go eradicate all the animals they have, all the assets they have, everything is going to get wiped out. So because of that, he then starts, sending, in metaphoric terms, it says he starts sending the clouds there. Essentially, he's going to push more rain in that region. So at that time, like there are other people like Agni, everybody is going and telling, oh, Indra, why are you doing this? This is like unwanted for. right? But he says, no, my authority, our whole authority is questioned, because that's what happened when you're overcome with Rajogunam, when you're overcome with that pride gets questioned, you don't know what you're doing. So he said, I'm going to push all this and the entire area is going to get wiped out, right? That's the amount of rain I'm going to push into that area. And Bhattacharya asked that, who doesn't get caught up in your Maya, right? It's very easy for somebody to get sucked into that Maya that they forget who you are and start questioning you. So Twadavasam Hantum, Pralaya Jaladanambara Bhuvi, Prahinvan Bibranaha, So the next word, we can break it into 4 parts if you want to. Kulisham Ayam Abreba Gamanaha. If you want to break. Kulisham Ayam Abreba Gamanaha. Twadavasam Hantum Pralaya Jaladanambara Bhuvi Prahinvan Bibranaha Kulishamayam Abreba Gamanaha.
Vadavasam hantum pralaya jalatanambarabhuvi prahinvan vibrana pulisamayamabreba gamanaha.
Shanti, second line, the Bibranaha, there is a visarga there, okay?
Pranaha. Okay. Vadavasam hantum pralaya jalatanambarabhuvi prahinvan vibranaha kulisamayamabreba gamanaha.
Vadavasam hantum pralaya jaladanambur Tadvadavasam hantum pralaya jaladanambarabuvi prahinvan bibranaha kulishamayamabrega Vadavasam hantum pralaya jaladanambarabuvi prahinvan bibranaha kulishamayamabrega
Pratastenyehi. So ra that is there after yei, you put a visarga, Pratastenyehi, Next word starts with the a. Antar dahana marudadhyair vihasito, bhavan maya naiva, tribhuvana pate mohayati kam. Pratastenyehi Antardahanamarudadhyairvihasito Bhavan Naiva Tribhuvanapate Mohayati Kam.
Pradastenyair antardahanamarutatyir vihasito bhavanmaya naiva tribhuvanapade mohayadikam.
Shanti, and that the Pratastenyehi becomes the ra becomes a visarga and a. So anyehi.
Pradastenyaih antardahanamarutatyir vihasito bhavanmaya naiva tribhuvanapade mohayadikam.
Pratastenyaihi antardahana murudadhyairihasito bhavanmaya naiva tribhuvanavanapate mohayatikam.
After naiva, 4th line is a comma.
Naiva, okay, sorry. Thanks. Pratastenyaihi antardahana marudadhyairihasito bhavanmaya naiva Tribhuvanapate mohayatikam.
We'll just switch. I think we're in the halfway mark time. Ram, you can be a student, and Padma Garu, you can be a student. Stanza 10. Surendra kruddhaschet dvijakarunaya shailakripayapi anaatankosmakam niyata iti vishwasya pashupan aho kinhayato giribhiditi sanchintya nivasan marudgehadhisha pranudamura mama gadam. So now Krishna is aware what's going to happen. So it says, Krishna, you're waiting, wondering why Indra has not come so far. Why has nothing changed, right, in Brajabhumi so far? So he's prepping the Gopas again, saying that, don't worry, we know Indra is going to retaliate. But if Indra retaliates, remember, we did the right thing. We prayed to the Brahmins, we prayed to the priests, we prayed to the Govardhana mountain, and all the good deeds that you have done will come to protect you. So don't worry about it, but be ready that there's going to be heavy downpour of rain that's going to be happening. So Surendraha, put a Surendra Kruddhaschet, comma, Dvija Karunaya Shaila Kripayapi. So put a P at the end of that line and comma, Kripayapi. Next line, that Pya becomes a. So Anatankosmakam. Anatankosmakam, comma, Niyata iti Vishwasya Pashupan. Surendra Kruddhaschet Dvijakarunaya Shailakripayapi Anatankosmakam Niyata iti Vishwasya Pashupan.
सुरेन्द्रः क्रुद्धश्चेत् द्विजकरुणया शैलकृपयापि अनातङ्कोऽस्माकं नियत इति विश्वास्य पशुपान् सुरेन्द्रः क्रुद्धश्चेत् द्विजकरुणया शैलकृपयापि अनातङ्कोऽस्माकं नियत इति विश्वास्य पशुपान्
सुरेन्द्रः क्रुद्धश्चेत् द्विजकरुणाय शैलकृपयापि अनातङ्कोऽस्माकं नियत इति विश्वास्य पशुपान् सुरेन्द्रः क्रुद्धश्चेत् द्विजकरुणाय शैलकृपयापि अनातङ्कोऽस्माकं नियत इति विश्वास्य पशुपान्.
Padmagara, that first line, Dvija Karunaya.
द्विजकरुणया शैलकृपयापि.
Yeah. Aha, aho, kinnayato, giribhiditi, comma, sanchintya nivasanne, comma, marut gehadisha, comma, pranuda muravairin mamagadan. So, oh Lord of Guruvayur, please eradicate my ailments. Aho kinnayato giribhiditi, sanchintya nivasanne, marut gehadisha, pranuda muravairin mamagadan.
अहो किन्नायातो गिरिभिदिति सञ्चिन्त्य निवसन् मरुद्गेहाधीश प्रणुदमुरवैरिन्मम गदान् अहो किन्नायातो गिरिभिदिति सञ्चिन्त्य निवसन् मरुद्गेहाधीश प्रणुदमुरवैरिन्मम गदान्
अहो किन्नायातो गिरिभिदिति सञ्चिन्त्य निवसन् मरुद्गेहाधीश प्रणुदमुरवैरिन्मम गदान् अहो किन्नायातो गिरिभिदिति सञ्चिन्त्य निवसन् मरुद्गेहाधीश प्रणुदमुरवैरिन्मम गदान्.
Shri Krishna Parabrahmane Namaha. 62. That's a little bit of some of the words there are tough in that chapter, but okay. 63 is Govardhana Uddharana Varnanam. Holding the Govardhana mountain. Stanza 1. So this one, I think a few tunes might change in between in some places, but Dadrishere kila takshanamakshatasthanita jrumbhita kampita diktataha sushamaya bhavatangatulam gataha brajapado parivari dharastvaya. So now the time has come where the rain now starts pouring. The pouring to the extent that the Braja people haven't seen before. It's like a non-stop outpour of rain that is actually happening with thunder and lightning. The spot that they've never experienced such a thing before. But even in that, Bhattacharya is saying, even when there is extremely dark clouds out there and lightning in there, Krishna, it still resembles you. Because if you remember in the 38th Dasakam, the stanza it says, Kante Vrajairiva Ghanagana Mandalaidyam Abrunvati Viruruche Kila Varshavela. When the time for you to be born was there, the entire area was covered in dark clouds, because it was an indicator of how you were going to be born in that color, rain-bearing clouds. And the lightning which was there was you in that lightning, showing that brilliance between the clouds. He says, similar to that, even though there was complete outpour of rain, It just resembled you, Krishna, because that's the indicator of what you're going to be doing next, same way. So anyway, it starts raining heavily there in the Vrajabhumi right now. So Dhadrushire kila tat kshanam akshata. If you want to break it, tat kshanam akshata, put a plus. Stanita jrumbita kampita tiktataha. Sushamaya bhavadanga tulam gataha. So put a visarga there and comma, gataha. Vraja padopari varidharas tvaya. Dadrishire किल तत्क्षणमक्षतस्तनितजृम्भितकम्पितदिक्तटाः सुषमया भवदङ्गतुलां गताः व्रजपदोपरिवारिधरास्त्वया.
ददृशिरे किल तत्क्षणमक्षतस्तनितजृम्भितकम्पितदिक्तटाः सुषमया भवदङ्गतुलां गताः व्रजपदोपरिवारिधरास्त्वया. ददृशिरे किल तत्क्षणमक्षतस्तनितजृम्भितकम्पितदिक्तटाः सुषमया भवदङ्गतुलां गताः व्रजपदोपरिवारिधरास्त्वया.
ददृशिरे किल ददृशिरे किल तत्क्षणमक्षतस्तनितद्रुम्भितकम्पितदिक्तटाः सुषमया भवदङ्गतुलां गताः व्रजपदोपरिवारिधरास्त्वया. ददृशिरे किल तत्क्षणमक्षतस्तनितद्रुम्भितकम्पितदिक्तटाः सुषमया भवदङ्गतुलां गताः व्रजपदोपरिवारिधरास्त्वया.
Answer 2. विपुलकरकमिश्रैः तोयधारानिपातैः दिशि दिशि पशुपानां मण्डले दण्ड्यमाने कुपितहरिकृतान्नः पाहि पाहीति तेषां वचनमजितशृण्वन् मा बिभीतेत्यभाणीः. So this complete downpour is happening. The entire area is getting flooded everywhere because with excessive rain, it starts pouring for multiple days. So when it starts pouring for multiple days, that entire area gets flooded. Everything begins to get washed away. Now, of course, with rain, it also starts getting cold because it's been pouring non-stop for so many days. So, of course, all of them remember, that Garga Muni had told Nandagopa, even when the Kali and Krishna danced on Kaliya, they said, how is Krishna able to do this? So at the time, Nandagopa tells them, remember, Garga Muni had told me that this boy is going to protect us, right? He's going to help us out of all of these calamities. So they all remember that, say, our only hope here is Krishna. So they all come to Krishna and say, Krishna, look at this rain. Our assets are getting washed away. So you have to protect us. You have to protect the cows. You have to protect everybody. So Krishna realizes, okay, now Indra has started his thing. So he tells them, don't worry, just calm down. I will take care of all of you. So Vipula Kharaka Mishraihi. So that is there. You remove it, put a visarga comma. Mishraihi. Toya Dhara Nipataihi. Another visarga and comma there. Next line, there's a ir that goes away. So Dishi Dishi Pashupanam Mandale Dandyamane. That line together. Kupita Hari Kritannaha, comma. Pahi Pahiti Tesham, put a plus. Vachanam Ajita Shrinvan Ma Bhibhitetya Bhanihi. That word you cannot break it. Bhibhitetya Bhanihi. So after Kritannaha, in the third line, there is a comma, and then the rest of the two lines go together. Vipulakaraga Mishraihi Toya Dhara Nipataihi Dishi Dishi Pashupana Mandale Dandyamhane Kupita Harikritannaha Pahi Pahiti Tesham Vachanamajita Shrinvan Ma Bhibhitetya Bhanihi.
विपुलकरकमिश्रैः तोयधारानिपातैः दिशि दिशि पशुपानां मण्डले दण्ड्यमाने कुपितहरिकृतान्नः पाहि पाहीति तेषां वचनमजितशृण्वन्मा बिभीतेत्यभानीः. विपुलकरकमिश्रैः तोयधारानिपातैः दिशि दिशि पशुपानां मण्डले दण्ड्यमाने कुपितहरिकृतान्नः पाहि पाहीति तेषां वचनमजितशृण्वन् मा बिभीतेत्यभानीः.
विपुलकरकमिश्रैः तोयधारानिपातैः दिशि दिशि पशुपानां मण्डले दण्ड्यमाने कुपितहरिकृतान्नः पाहि पाहीति तेषां वचनमजित शृण्वन्माभिभीते त्वयभाणीः विपुलकरकमिश्रैः तोयधारानिपातैः दिशि दिशि पशुपानां मण्डले दण्ड्यमाने कुपितहरिकृतान्नः पाहि पाहीति तेषां वचनमजित शृण्वन्माभिभीतेत्यबाणीः.
Stanza 3. Kula iha khalu gotro daivatam gotra shatror vihatamiha sarundhyad konuva samshayosmin iti sahasitavadi deva govardhanadhram tvaritam udamumulo mulato baladorbyam. So when they come to Krishna, then Krishna is just thinking, right? You know that this of course Indra is causing this. He says that demigods like Indra, Varuna, Vayu, they all have lot of power, right? So like, you know, like Spider-Man also says, with lot of power comes lot of responsibility as well, right? So you cannot get carried away in that power or pride that you have. He says that's what happens sometimes when they get excessive power, excessive things, they then lose control of what their position is, to the extent that they're questioning the person who put them in that place, right? That's how arrogant Indra has gotten. So Krishna says it's important that all these devas, so in Krishna Avataram, Brahma tried to do something, he got put in his place. Indra does this, then Varuna will do it twice, right? And Agni also, we're going to see it will come in two places. And in the very end, Bhattaripada will say, who has, you know, all these demigods, they tried to question saying you are not the Purna Avataram. They didn't realize you are such a Purna Avataram that none of them can get away with you, right? They didn't realize it and they finally learned it. So all these people will test Krishna a couple of times in this thing. But here in Indra is testing Krishna, is saying I have to teach that he cannot be so proud and he is supposed to do his responsibilities. Plus, of course, these Vraja people, they're completely dependent on me. So Krishna tells, don't worry. Remember, I told you, Govardhana will help us out. He says, you just follow me. So they all follow Krishna. And then he goes and, you know, like in other places, you know, people try to work hard, but Krishna doesn't show all that. I'm only a 7-8-year-old boy. I'm just going to lift the Govardhana mountain, as simple as that, right? Like Bhattaripada says, just like how a boy plucks a small mushroom which is out on the floor, Krishna just lifts the Govardhana mountain in his hand. And we'll go for a few stanzas, but right now he just lifts the Govardhana mountain. Kula iha khalu gotro daivatam gotra shatro is there, put a plus there. And then the ir from the next line will join this. So gotra shatror vihatim iha sarundyat, and then put a comma. So first line together with the second line, after rundyat, comma, konu vaha, put a is konuvas samshayosmin, iti sahasita vadi deva govardhanadhrim, comma, tvaritam uda mumulo mulato bala dorbhyam. Kula iha khalu gotro daivatam gotra shatror vihatimiha sarundhyat konuvas samshayosmin iti sahasitavadi deva govardhanadhrim tvaritamudamumulo mulato baladorbyam.
Kula iha khalu gotro daivatam gotra shatrorvihatimiha sarundhyat konuvassamshayosmin iti sahasitavadi deva govardhanadrim tvaritamudamumulo mulato baladorbyam. Kula iha khalu gotro daivatam gotra shatrorvihatimiha sarundhyat konuvassamshayosmin iti sahasitavadi deva govardhanadrim tvaritamudamumulo mulato baladorbyam.
कुल इह खलु गोत्रो दैवतं गोत्रशोत्रोर् विहतिमिह सरुन्द्यात् को नु वः संशयोऽस्मिन् इति सहसितवादी देवगोवर्धनाद्रिं त्वरितमुदमुमूलो मूलतो बालदौर्भ्याम्. कुलैः खलु गोत्रो दैवतं गोत्र शत्रोर्विहति विहति मिह सरुन्द्यात् को नु वः संशयोऽस्मिन् इति सहसितवादी देवगोवर्धनाद्रिं मुदमुमूलो मूलतो बालदौर्भ्याम्
support तदनु गिरिवरस्य प्रोद्धृतस्यास्य तावत् सिकतिलमृदुदेशे दूरतो वारितापे परिकरपरिमिश्रान् धेनुगोपान् अधस्तात् उपनिदधता हस्तपद्मेन शैलम्. So Krishna then with his very tender arms, tender like arm, he lifts the Govardhana mountain to the extent that he uproots it so much that the bottom is not wet, right? Because when it rains, then there's water that starts seeping in, but he lifted from the bottom so that there's no water dripping when people are standing underneath it. Then he tells all the Vraja people, whoever wants, bring your cattle, bring your things, and come and stand underneath it. He says, I can guarantee you should have absolutely no fear that this mountain is going to fall. So don't worry about it. This mountain is not going to fall. Your protection from this rain has been guaranteed by this mountain. He says, don't worry about it. Don't even think was whoever want, come. So then all the people, they bring all, they bring their cows, they bring whatever items, critical things they want to carry. They all come, and it's able to accommodate everybody who is there in the Brajabhumi under that mountain. So tadanu girivarasya prodhritasya tavat, sikatila mrudu deshe durato varitape parikara parimishran denu gopan adhastat. Put a it at the end of that line. Gopan adhastat, next line the du becomes a u. So this is a little tough word. Upanidhadat adhatta. So the way it is, they have 4 das coming there, right? Dha, dha, da, dha. 4 das coming there. So the third da that you're having, dha, dha, da, which is coming, you break it into an it and a a. So it becomes upanidhadat adhatta. Okay? So upanidhadat adhatta hasta padmena shailam. तदनु गिरिवरस्य प्रोद्धृतस्यास्य तावत् सिकतिलमृदुदेशे दूरतो वारितापे परिकरपरिमिश्रान् धेनुगोपानधस्तात् उपनिधदत् अधत्ता हस्तपद्मेन शैलम्.
तदनु गिरिवरस्य प्रोद्धृतस्यास्य तावत् सिकतिलमृदुदेशे दूरतो वारितापे परिकरपरिमिश्रान् धेनुगोपानधस्यात् उपनिधत्ताः हस्तपद्मेन शैलम्.
Ram, on the third line, Gopan adhastat. Okay, I think you said something else there.
Gopan adhastat. Idla Gopa hyphen போட்டிருக்கா. So Gopan adhastat.
That's easy to say. Gopan adhastat will be easy to say. And then the fourth line, adhattaha, there's no visarga there because ha is coming, right? So there'll be no visarga after the previous one.
Adattha hasta padmena.
Yeah.
Okay. Tadanu girivarasya prodhritasya tavat sikatilamrududeshe durato varitape परिकरपरिमिश्रान् धेनुगोपान् अधस्तात् अदत्ता हस्तपद्मेन शैलम्.
तदनु गिरिवरस्य प्रोद्धतस्यास्य तावत् सिकतिलमृदुदेशे दूरतो वारितापे परिकरपरिमिश्रान् धेनुगोपानधस्तात् उपनिधदस्ता हस्तपद्मेन शैलम्. तदनु गिरिवरस्य प्रोद्धृतस्यास्य तावत् सिकतिलमृदुदेशे दूरतो वारितापे परिकरपरिमिश्रान् धेनुगोपानधस्तात् उपनिधदस्ता हस्तपद्मेन शैलम्.
That's a fact. Bhavati vidruta shaile balikabhirvayasyihi api vihita vilasam kelila padilole सविदमिलितधेनुरेकहस्तेन कण्डूयति सति पशुपालास्तोषमैषन्त सर्वे. So Krishna, for that period, and we'll see how many days that's going to come later, but Krishna, he doesn't worry about hunger, he doesn't worry about thirst or any other thing. He just stands there holding the Govardhana hill. And all the residents also, because looking at the beauty of Krishna holding the Govardhana hill, even they don't feel any hunger or thirst or any fatigue or anything. And unlike anything, like we said, right, Krishna could have held it with two hands. He could have put something, he could have held it with his right hand also. Krishna is like, no, I'm going to hold it with my left hand. I'm not even going to use my full hand. I'm going to hold it with my pinky finger. That's enough, right, for this Govardhana hill. And then he's standing with his, holding with his left hand with his pinky finger, and it says, and he doesn't feel the strain to the extent that with one hand he's caressing the cows and the calves on one hand. And it says very beautifully here, you're not even feeling tired, Krishna, because you're chatting with your friends there, standing there. So you're not even feeling heavy lifting it. You're standing very casually, chatting with the boys and girls there. And in one hand, you're scratching the cows and you don't feel any, issue at all. And everybody was feeling so happy looking at it, saying such a marvelous picture, looking at it itself, they felt so happy that they didn't feel any worries of the rain or the tiredness or anything there. Bhavati vidruta shaile balikabhir vayasyaihi. So put a visarga and comma there, vayasyaihi. Next line, the ra becomes a. Api vihita vilasam keli lapadi lole savida milita dhenur eka hastena kandu, put a plus, yati sati, comma. So that line is continuous, and then yati sati, comma. Pashupalas tosham aishanta sarve. Bhavati vidruta shaile balikabhirvayasyaihi api vihita vilasam kelila padilole savida milita dhenu reka hastena kandu yati sati pashupalas toshamaishanta sarve.
भवति विधृतशैले बालिकाभिर्वयस्यैः अपि विहितविलासं केलिलापादिलोले सविधमिलितधेनुर्येकहस्तेन कण्डूयति सति पशुपालास्तोषमैषन्त सर्वे भवति विधृतशैले बालिकाभिर्वयस्यैः अपि विहितविलासं केलिलापादिलोले सविधमिलितधेनुर्येकहस्तेन कण्डूयति सति पशुपालास्तोषमैषन्त सर्वे.
भवति विधृतशैले बालिकाभिर्वयस्यैः अपि विहितविलासं केलिलापादिलोले धेनुरेकहस्तेन कण्डू यति सति पशुपालास्तोषमैषन्त सर्वे.
Padmagara, the fourth line after yati sati, there is a comma. Okay, after kandu yati sati, and then comma.
Yeah, sure. भवति विधृतशैले बालिकाभिर्वयस्यैः अपि विहितविलासं केलिलापादिलोले सविधमिलितधेनुरे हस्तेन कण्डूयति सति पशुपालास्तोषमैषन्त सर्वे.
Stanza 6. So here the tune changes again from the rest four stanzas. Atimahan giriresha tuvamake karasaroruhitam dharate chiram kimidam adbhutam adribhalanviti twadavaloki bhirakati gopakaihi. So the gopas, who are looking at this say, like what adbhutam this is. That such a small boy, this entire Govardhana mountain, he's holding with his left hand, he's holding with the tip of the finger. So, like sometimes we see these videos on TikTok and YouTube, right? We say it's definitely an illusion. There's no way this is possible, right? He's just tricking us with some other angle and all that stuff. So the Gopas also think something very similar. They say it's not possible for such a small boy to lift this. They say we worshipped Govardhana. Looks like the Govardhana mountain has risen on its own. And maybe it is just Krishna is posing because he's just standing so casually with his tip fingers. The Govardhana mountain has risen and posing for Krishna, but they still are confused how Krishna is able to hold this thing, and they believe that there's some miracle that is actually happening because of which the mountain is staying in its place there. So Atimahan Giriresha tu Vamake, comma, Kara Saroruhi tam dharate chiram, Kim idam adbhutam adri. That 4 parts there if you want to break it. Kim idam adbhutam adri balan viti. So this next last word that is there is NVITI, nviti. So it's easy to say it along with that last word balam. So that im becomes an in. So if you think of it as balan viti, you say it together, then it'll flow. So balan viti, comma, Twadavaloki bhirakati. That word you cannot break it. So Twadavaloki bhirakati gopakaihi. Atimahan giriresha tuvamake karasaro ruhitam dharate chiram kimidam adbhutam adribhalan viti Twadavaloki bhirakati gopakaihi.
Atimahan giriresha tu vamake karasarorhitam dharate chiram kimidammadbhutamadribalan viti tvadavaloki gopakaihi. Atimahan giriresha tu vamake karasarorhitam dharate chiram kimidammadbhutamadribalan viti Tvadavaloki bhirakati gopakaihi.
अतिमहान् गिरिरेश तु वामके करसरोरुहितं धरते चिरं किमिदमद्भुतमद्रिबलंविति त्वदवलोकभिराकथिगोपकैः अतिमहान् गिरिरेश तु वामके करसरोरुहितं धरते चिरं किमिदमद्भुतमद्रिबलंविति त्वदवलोकिभिराकथिगोपकैः.
See, maybe 1 or 2 more maximum. Ahahadharshyamamushyavatorgirhim vyatitabahurasababaropayet iti haristvai baddhabigarhano divasa saptakamughamavarshayet. So when Indra sees this, he says, what arrogance for this boy, right? He thinks that he is coming and holding this mountain. But we all know, right? You can lift some object for some time. When you same object you start holding for a long time, your hand starts paining. Indra says, let me see how long this boy can hold, right? So it says, Divasa Saptakam. For 7 days, it starts pouring continuously, non-stop rain for 7 days, right? And I'll have to jump and tell the next stanza meaning also a little bit here. And it says in the next stanza that for 7 days, Achalati, Krishna, you didn't move your step even a little bit. It's not even like you adjusted your feet. Like we sit for 2 hours, we start adjusting our feet, right, to change the position. It says, Krishna, for 7 days, you didn't move your step, you didn't move your hand, nothing changed. You just stood in that place for 7 days, right? And when Krishna stood in there for 7 days without moving, Indra finally came to the realization that I think I made a big mistake, that I shouldn't have done this. So he finally takes some realization. So he then finally the rain comes to an end. The entire thing suddenly stops after 7 days when Indra finally gives up. So ahaha Darshyama Mushya. So this ir has to come after the dha sound, okay? Darshyama Mushya Vator Girim, comma, Vyatita Bahura Sava Varopayet. Even that you cannot break it. Bahura Sava Varopayet. Iti Haris Twai Baddha Vigarhano, comma, Divasa Saptakam Ugram Avarshayet. If you want to break that word. Divasa Saptakam Ugram Avarshayet. Ahahadharshyamamushyavatogirhim vyatitabhahurasababaropayet iti haristvai baddhavigarhano divasa saptakamugramavarshayate.
Ahahadharshyamamushyavatogirhim vyatitabahurasavaropayet iti haristvai baddhavigarhano divasa saptakamugramavarshayat. Ahahadharshyamamushyavatogirhim vyatitabahurasavaropayet इति हरिस्त्वयि बद्धविगर्हणो दिवससप्तकमुग्रमवर्षयत्
अहहदार्ष्ट्यमुमुष्य वटोर्गिरिं रसावरोपयेत् इति हरिस्त्वयि बद्धविगर्हणो दिवससप्तकमुग्रमवर्षयत् अहहदार्ष्ट्यमुमुष्य वटोर्गिरिं व्यदितबाहुरसावारोपयेत् इति हरिस्त्वयि बद्धविगर्हणो दिवससप्तकमुग्रमवर्षयत्.
Yeah, we'll stop here today. Shri Krishnaya Parabrahmane Namaha. Sandhanandhavabodhatmakamanupamitam kaladhekavadibhyam nirmuktam nityamuktam nigamashatasahasrena nirbhasyamanam aspashtam drishtamatre punarurupurushartatmakam brahma tattvam tattavadbhati sakshat guru pavanapure hanta bhagyam jananam कायेन वाचा मनसेन्द्रियैर्वा बुद्ध्यात्मना वा प्रकृते स्वभावात् करोमि यत् सकलं परस्मै नारायणायेति समर्पयामि.
Thank you,
Thank you
Rajesh.
very
Thank
much.
you, Rajesh.
Thank you.
I just wanted to share,
you.
yesterday we had a 3D box project fair. In a shoe box, kids make themes of Ramayana, Mahabharata. I'm
Okay.
sharing in our group. Yesterday, one kid made the Govardhana mountain,
Oh, is
Krishna
it?
holding. And
Oh.
it's an elementary kid, very sweetly, he did it. And he said, Krishna holds it in his pinky finger,
Exactly.
So
Very nice.
it was just a coincidence. I did take a picture, wanted to share. I'll share
Sure,
it with you.
absolutely, absolutely. And if you
Thank
go to
you.
Vrindavan in that Prem Mandir, if you go to the night, they have all these various leelas of Krishna there. And at night they light it up in the Prem Mandir Vrindavan. It is so beautiful because they have lifestyle replica, right? So the Krishna is standing and all the Gopas cows, and they are all lifestyle size. And then they'll have this Govardhana mountain also, lifting there, right? It's very beautiful at night. So
Very nice.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
thank you,
you.
everybody. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.